This video is about the stone crusher them. And you have Richie Black Lawn. When the police them kill him, he did have a lisp on him. And the reality also of MOBAY and the MOBAY violence and the impact it had on Jamaica. But I've always said that the IMF, the World Bank, and other financial institutions around the world set the policies for Jamaica, which cause us to be the way we are. Well, I'm gonna try and explain some of this as clear and layman term as I can. So I want you guys bear with me. I'm gonna explain how the policy affect Jamaica and other countries, because I don't think people understand. They say, yeah, the IMF, the this, the that, but we can't make the coalition. Well, I'm gonna try and prove it with this video. Let's go. Good day, my wonderful people. It's me again, the great, one more great countryman. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and click on another video. Like I said, I'm gonna explain what the IMF and the World Bank did to Jamaica. And I'm gonna say this word. I want to listen to this word. It's called NEOLIBERALISM. I'm gonna explain that and how it fuck up Jamaica and the rest of the place, Caribbean, and that's why we're experiencing this violence in MOBAY, Westmoreland, Kingston, and it goes on and on. As well as I'm gonna explain the stone crusher, because we are talking about Richie Blacks, and we also talk about why MOBAY, the youth them are dead so young, and so much crime and violence and murder and mayhem in Montego Bay as well as the rest of the country. But we are dealing with stone crusher. But like me say, I think this video I'm gonna try and explain why we having the violence in Jamaica all over it, but we're using the stone crusher and the MOBAY Norwood situation as a snapshot and as a point of reference. And when we say a snapshot, for the bigger picture of Jamaica. So, follow me.
The man with the hit list, Richie Black's Lawn. As early as 2007, it was being circulated that the stone crushers had a list of persons marked for death, among them police officers. A hit list was found on the body of Richard Lawn. For security reasons we cannot show the list. The intention is to find these individuals, question them and inform them that they are on the hit list. Merrick Watson, superintendent in charge of the St. James Police Division. On April 2, 2010, Richie Black's Lawn, reputedly a top-tier member of the Stone Crusher, was shot and killed by police. A Beretta 9mm pistol with 6 rounds was taken from his body. At the time of his death, allegedly, the police found on his person a hit list containing the names of civilians and police officers.
Now, in the Stone Crusher saga, we had Richard Black, them call him Richie Blacks, Lauren. He was also a top man in the Stone Crusher. He worked with Damian Vassell, and they created a hit list of about 32 people which the authorities had information on it and was trying to figure out if it was true or not. Damian Vassell, he started eliminating people on the hit list, and that includes, I think, about 3 police that was on the hit list died in Montego Bay. On that hit list, it was also other people from other parishes, and other places in Jamaica, even as far as Kingston. Long story short, the police end up kill Richie Blocks, and when they killed him, he had the list on him. Play a clip of the MOBAY violence, because the gangster them in MOBAY, they die real young. And then I am gonna explain why MOBAY, Jamaica, and a lot of countries are facing what we're facing. So bear with me, please.
Among some of the so-called top gangsters in St. James who have been killed by the police after being labeled most wanted are 2002, Brian Bruno Stone, 28, an alleged top gangster in Rose Heights. 2004, Eric Sondekeng Brown, 29, accused killer, who was on the FBI's most wanted list. 2005, Michael Banagrandstan, 28, implicated in several murders, including the killing of an ex-policeman. 2006, Delano Bigga Crime Williams, 22, the much-feared Stone Crusher gang enforcer. 2006, Jermaine Gordon, 15, described as a young Stone Crusher enforcer. 2006, Michael Lassie Forbes, 36, alleged Stone Crusher gang leader. 2007, Garfield Don Sawyers, 27, alleged leader of the Fresh Roses gang. 2007, Rohan Don Gordon, 26, alleged Stone Crusher gang leader. 2007, Gerardo Rado Taylor, 27, much feared gangster who was on Jamaica's most wanted list. 2010, Richard Richie Blacks Long, 32, the last known leader of the Stone Crusher gang. 2010, Anthony Bolo Christie, 26, alleged leader of the Piranha gang.
To make it very, very clear, all them young man here, but some young youth, some of them as young as 15, the oldest are 32, and a police kill all of them out of the Stone Crusher. So, at that, I want to kind of explain how the man them are dead at Jamaica. Alright. We're gonna move on. Like I said, I want to use that video here to kind of explain the coalition between IMF, World Bank, and all these other big banks who we borrow money from. And what I want to talk about is neoliberalism. And I'm going to explain what neoliberalism is. And after the explanation, I'm going to explain how it affects Jamaica. Alright, let's go.
The neoliberal transformation, SAPS and the Jamaican state. The 1980s is referred to as the lost decade, with the policies of privatization, liberalization, deregulation, and budget cuts leading to disastrous eeks on the political economies of developing countries. Neoliberal reforms led to stagnation or decline in GDP growth, an increase in unemployment, a drop in wages, reductions in public expenditure on social services, and an aggravation of poverty. Many developing countries soared from declining economic growth rates. GDP and per capita incomes fell by 6.6% and 16% from 1980 to 1988. Inspired by the neoliberal model, developing countries implemented structural adjustment programs, SAPs, policies fundamentally geared towards emphasizing the role of market as the main vehicle of growth, while simultaneously reducing the role governments had played in growth previously. In highlighting four central policy areas associated with SAPs: 1. Adjustments in foreign exchange. 2. Drastic cuts in government spending. 3. Economic restructuring through market deregulation. And 4. Trade liberalization and easing of rules regulating foreign investment. Benaria also emphasized the high social costs felt among all social groups within developing economies.
So after a lot of countries got independence, they turned to the World Bank and the IMF and those kind of organizations, and those organizations come up with a plan called SAP, SAP, Structural Adjustment Program, and that focus on the economy as the main part of driving growth and less role of government. So the role government used to play in Jamaica in terms of jobs, social development, social education and stuff like that, they kind of stepped away from that, and privatization of the economy, the opening up of the country, flooding it with other goods from other places, leads to what we're at right now. What is neoliberalism? It is the privatization of the economy, the opening up of the economy, and the liberalization of the economy, and also budget cuts, which produce what we have now in Jamaica. I'm going to explain some more. So that leads to unemployment, a rising price, the neglection of social services, the aggravation of poverty. With SAP, Structural Adjustment Program, it's a deregulation of foreign exchange. That's one. Cut in government spending. That's two. Number 3, economic restructuring through market deregulation and privatization. Number 4 is trade liberalization, meaning the easing of rule for foreign investment. You understand? Opening up the country so that we can have canned tomatoes instead of tomatoes coming from the farmers. So that's the structural adjustment program, and that's what neoliberalism is, and that's what changed Jamaica, and actually the whole of the third world, from Latin America right back into the Caribbean. With those kind of policies, okay, what it did, it neglected the vast majority of the country. It turned people and community into garrisons. That's why once we started getting foreignized and liberalization, a lot of people in the 80s and early 90s became iglas because there was no job. So people know it became a service economy, and that's what lead to where we're at right now. I'm gonna explain some more and play some more clips. But neoliberalism, it's the opening up of the country, less role in government, more foreign investment and foreign people coming in and work in the country, while there's government play a minimal role. There is no social service, there is no emphasis on stuff like that in a neoliberalism. I guess it's trying to get the countries them to be more Americanized in terms of productivity, but that was the wrong approach, and that's why we have such garrison aggravated poverty, which lead to violence, and it's played out like that in Jamaica and other places. I'm gonna play a little bit more of some clip and explain neoliberalization and liberalism and how it affects Jamaica and it brings us to where we are. So bear with me. I know I'm talking about the Klansman them, not the Klansman them. We are talking about Stone Crusher. But even yet, Klansman are the same thing, the violence, and we are explain what neoliberalism and liberalization is and how it was forced up on us by World Bank, IMF and those big monetary banks after we got independence. So after a lot of the country them start coming to them own, the bank them come up with a plan, and that's what lead to where we're at. Now I'm gonna play another clip and then interject, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. Okay, so let's go.
However, none felt it as strongly as the urban poor. Not only did Caribbean leadership inherit at the time of independence states with weak capacities and social institutions that did not make the poor masses a priority. Harvey argues that developing countries, because of their uneven geographical development, further, more successful states, the USA, or regions, America, would employ the carrot and stick approach by providing preferential access to their consumer market to developing states that reformed their economies along neoliberal lines. Jamaica signed its RST standby agreement with the IMF in 1977. The country negotiated 7 additional loan packages between 1977 and 1990. Jamaica started its SAP in 1981 supported by the World Bank and IMF. King and Handa chronicled the macroeconomic reform policies of the Jamaican government. Financial liberalization was implemented with the removal of exchange controls and commercial banks began transactions in foreign exchange. They conclude that the monetary expansion of 1988 to 1991, along with domestic innovation that it generated, served to bring about sharp depreciation of the currency immediately upon the removal of exchange controls in 1991. The impact of shifts in Jamaica's monetary policies had a direct negative impact on the economy. It helped to devalue the local currency, increased innovation, and thereby the price of food and services. SAPS had a particular debilitating effect on the urban economy of Kingston, which survived for decades from protectionism from as early as the 1950s. Clark and Howard note that in the late 1980s, tariff barriers were reduced, the Jamaican dollar was devalued, trade union protection of labor was curtailed and the Jamaican market was suited with imports. Their overall assessment of SAPS on the specific geography of Kingston is important to our analysis of the hollowing out effect on the state by neoliberal change in Jamaica. In the areas of employment, housing, and nutrition, food security, SAP had a negative impact during the 1980s and the early 1990s. This created the perfect storm.
Neoliberalism and the violent change in Jamaica. Now, after the 1980 election, the politicians then became fearful. So, them have the electoral committee, this, that, them created laws that stop the political violence. But while those laws stop the political violence, it did other things. Now, a transition was taking place in Jamaica. You see, the political fighter them began to engage into trafficking and drugs and gun. The political partisan between the garrison and the political enforcers went through a transformation. People start get smart. The show posse start show people what to do. So, despite a political violence reduction, it played out in different ways with a big homicide rate. So while civil reform helped to minimize the potential for political fraud and violence, it helped it also helped, to encourage the expansion of the garrison violence and the garrison and the lucrative market in the ghetto. Let me repeat that again. While civil reforms help to minimize the potential for political violence and fraud, it also helped to encourage the expansion of the garrison violence to more lucrative market. So with the good governance, with the political civil reforms, because the politicians fear for political violence, it didn't sever the tie between the politicians and the dons them in the garrison. And they find new ways of entertaining that by giving the dons them contract for roads and other stuff. As so the corruption start. Now, neoliberalism, what it did, it opened up these dons to the international market for crime, drugs, gun, intercontinental drug trade, and that brings a rise in crime. Now the dons them had more money to fund the garrison, to the politician them working with them, and that's what neoliberalism did to Jamaica. And if anybody say I am lying, the facts are here. And this is where I'm gonna end it. I know this was a video about the man, Richie, Blacks, and the MOBAY man, them, the gangster, them die young. But we did have to kinda interject with the neoliberalism and kinda explain how the IMF and the policies from Jamaica and the Caribbean what it is. And it is neoliberalism. My name is Countryman. I hope I didn't confuse you guys. I know this kinda went down in a little political realm. But we have to understand what happened to know where we're going. So that's why I always say social democracy is the way, not neoliberalism. My name is Countryman. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and click on another video. And I hope you guys understand what I was trying to explain, the coalition with the gangs and the don them. Alright, I'm out.